Right, I'm Michael Cromwell. I'm with Alexis Le Dressay to talk about his new game. What is the title of the new game?
The title? So it's a new Wargame, and it's a new episode of the series, and we call it Red Dragon.
So it's Wargame Red Dragon?
Yes.
Based on the Wargame series so far?
Absolutely.
So what was your decision to go straight from AirLand Battle straight into a new one? Because I know you got some criticism for that from some people, until they played it, obviously. But
well, in fact, some of them were thinking this, but at the end of the day, we were pretty lucky with the series because in terms of sales, it's a great success for us. We are reaching the we will reach, I think, very shortly the 500,000 copies. So there are a lot of players, and AirLand Battle did much better than European Escalation, and I think the game was more popular because it is more complete, more elements in it. Also, it was more accessible and more authentic. So I guess there is, and a lot of our community is asking for more content, and we bring more content as soon as we can, usually by free DLC. But we want also to reach new levels with the series, bring something that is, and I will show you, I think that change and add new possibilities in the game that I think are absolutely necessary for Wargame fans.
now I've been talking to a developer recently who's put 300 hours into your game, AirLand Battle, and he's got one criticism, which isn't really a technical one, but all it is that your map sizes are basically set to how many players can play on them. So he says, why can't 2 players play on a massive map, a 10v10? Why can't 4 players play on an 8v8? Why limit player choice?
Well, it was a design choice, but as a lot of things, we can revert it. We decided not to put the options because there were a lot of, maybe because we need to improve the menus, but sometimes especially because it's difficult to know which map you are going to play because we don't display, the map from the top.
Yeah.
This will be added in the new one, of course, but sometimes I think we didn't want, that player made a mistake to have it's a huge map made, for a big fight with a lot of players, and then we put it 1 versus 1 on this one, and it's not really appropriate. So it's like we didn't give the choice because the choice can be most of the time a bad choice. And to be honest, if you play 1 versus 1 on a huge map, it can be boring because the map is too big, and it's like 20 minutes to reach the first fight. So, in my opinion, it's not really popular.
Okay.
So
I got one more question, and we move to the next game. But I'm wondering, so AirLand Battle had over 700 units. How many units was it?
Yeah.
So over 700. And one of my concerns with the game was it was such a unique sandbox experience, but the community seemed to say, you have to use this unit, this unit, this unit. If you don't use these units in this way, you're playing the game wrong. Now, is this something you may have addressed? Because it's a very competitive game, and it's got such a great sandbox environment, but I feel as though when I play it, and I play it in ways that I find fun or I enjoy it, the community don't like that. So is that something you can address or thought about?
I think, regarding I think there are different kind of players. There are players that just want to have the best deck possible, and depending on how they play, and for example, I like to play with tanks. I'm more using tanks with specific tactics that fits me because I hate to use artillery or thing like this, but I've got, at the studio, other game designer play a lot with artillery, and usually what happens is, depending on your strategy, you will say that another one that has a different strategy has units that you cannot play without. So we need to address a lot of strategy possible, which means it can be different. But the pleasure also you have is to play with a country that you like, because you like 1 or 2 units, and it's not necessary to have the best. But to be honest, sometimes some of the units were too powerful regarding the price or the amount of unit that was available. So we tweak this, and that's why we make a lot of patch. We continue supporting the game and upgrading it, and when we made a mistake, we try to fix them, and we spend a lot of time doing all the tweaking and things like this. But there are a lot of winners, you know, on the forum, like, oh yeah, this unit is unbalanced. Oh, pack now is unbalanced. Oh, the game is totally fucked. You know, we a lot of German players were asking for some units that were missing, like the Phantom F4, and well, in the last DLC we had some units. The DLC was not released yet. On the forum, some players were like, no, the game is unbalanced. And so other players were, you know, replying, come on, you didn't test it, it's not out yet. So it's difficult to know exactly where is the truth.
Obviously, you've learned from these not mistakes, but these feedbacks from the community. So for your next game, what are the major changes people should expect over AirLand Battle?
There will be a lot of you know, like what element they've asked, you know, like some upgrades they were asking for. Oh, we would like to have this and this and this and this and this. So normally we address this and we put it if it is okay for everyone, you know, like not for just, oh, this one is asking for this, so we're giving it for him, but the other one is asking for the contrary. So when it's like this, we prefer status quo, or like we'll see in the future or thing like this. But like, for example, a lot of players were asking, can we have a way to compare two units in the armory? Can we have a way to find quickly units, to have a filter? A lot of things like this, you know, we bring it up. But what we want to bring is also, you know, push the experience to a new level. Things, you know, in some players, they were thinking like, well, I don't play with aircraft, so AirLand Battle is not. It's like a DLC. Well, it's not a DLC. I think the game has reached a different. The experience is different. Sure, it's. You know, it's not like, oh, it's getting casual or it's a different game, but you know, I think it's different enough.
Well, what is the new game? What has the new game got that AirLand Battle doesn't have? So you won't get the same criticisms of reducing, of releasing another, you know, DLC game.
Yeah. I'll show you. I will show you. Yeah. For the first time, what we want to, and it's asked also by the fan base, is to move the conflict somewhere else. So we are moving it, and now we'll be in Asia, and which means that there are lots of very strong power right now that exists. Japan.
Right now. So this is set in modern.
No, it's a little bit more. It's like till 1981 now. So 1975 to 1981.
Okay.
It's not like modern was still. It's being modern, but modern contemporary is more with drones and things like this. And well, we wanted to explore, you know, like China Force, Japan, Korea, South and North Korean, Australian and New Zealand. So we're gonna see desert. We're gonna see high mountains. Plateau with rice, rizière, thing like this. So it's going to be really different in terms of settings. If you go through, you can see different villages and stuff like this, and the scale of the mountain as such that you can, you know, like play with the line of sight, and you will be able. So it's normally in such confrontation between forces, you will probably not have all your forces into this kind of scenery, but you can ambush and use fully the land. So this is for, I will say, the taste of the level design that we'll find in Red Dragons. But now that I've got a possibility to directly ask them, like they do in reality, to get into the water, because they are amphibious, like it's true. They have their speed in the water, then they will get the shore while they are crossing the river. It's going to be difficult for them. They're going to be like easy target from the enemy. If you shoot, everybody dies, sink. you can sometimes have a critical, like the vehicle is stuck in the water, so thing like this. And so this is a new dimension to the game. That's why in terms of level design, there are things interesting like this that can happen that were not possible in the previous game. So these are very shitty patrol boats of North Korean. So they are old and they are just like big flags. And normally what you have with the ships is pretty dedicated boats that are covering large zones. But also what's going to happen, what's going to appear is you will have a reinforcement sector that will be in the sea, which means that if on your deck you have put some landing unit transport, sea transport, you will be able to have units coming from the sea.
So is there a command boat then to capture the reinforcement area?
Exactly. And also, but it is not, well, on the game we'll go up to 1,200 units. So it's going to be very, very massive. It's going to be, we are close to insane, I think, in terms of number of units, but there are a lot in Asia, and a lot of people are spending time with their building on their deck, so I think it's okay. But we are also opening the time to a frame that is closer to us, so we are now in up to 1991. So there is, for example, the I think it's this one. So this one you might know, which is you know, the classical, which is actually in use in the U.S. Army, the Black Hawk with the special version with all the guns. And so there are a lot of different kind of Black Hawks with different kind of elements that one can find, which is one of the units of that time. But we also have the emblematic French and German helicopter, the Tiger. A lot of units are coming for the it's getting richer and richer. Also, what we are working hard is to push the dynamic campaign to a new level. On AirLand Battle, you know, you can only move the battle groups. You can have new ones, but they are already all set. In Red Dragon, you will move the carrier force, where you put squadrons of aircraft squadrons that can be used in tactical battle if they are close enough. You create your own battle groups. You can regroup force on the territory. Then you will have access to much more unit directly. It's much more rich in terms of possibility you can make. We really push the game to a next level in terms of solo campaign. We are going to have something like 15 to 20 different dynamic campaigns in the game, very much more scenarized with like specific uchrony. Like, for example, there is, so everything happened in Asia, in Southeast Asia, and in 1975 it's the end of the Vietnam War. Then in 1976 Vietnam invade Cambodia, and in 1979 I think Cambodia free himself from Vietnam. And there are so many scenarios that are possible. So and it's going to be very personalized, very detailed. Like, this is what happened. This is the force you have, and there is like a tactical enigma to resolve and to pass the scenario and win it, and then pass to the next one that you unlock. So I think that the solo campaign will be more powerful, more interesting, more powerful in the game.
So you say that you've learned from the mistakes of AirLand Battle's solo campaign, which was a little dry, to make it a lot better. Is this something you're really focusing on?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've consciously, okay, so yeah, so what kind of feedbacks are you working on with that? I mean, what do you understand was wrong with the AirLand Battle campaign that you want to change?
In fact, we've done on the DLC, and also we've done a patch which was correcting a lot of things on the solo campaign. I think the pace was much better. Regarding the forums, they were saying now it's much better, because it was a little bit like, oh, you were. But the thing is, you have the feeling you have some freedom to the thing because it's totally persistent, but you don't have enough freedom. And a lot of players were like, okay, I put like 2 battle groups here, but it's going to be 2 battles. I want 1 battle with those 2 battle groups. But if the 2 battle groups are like, they are all 500 units, you don't care about having that much unit, but probably you just want the aircraft squadron plus this of the tanks. And in fact, you want to build up your own battle groups. So you want to be totally free. So this is some of the element. And I think also, like you were saying, it was a little bit dry. It were only 5, but one was a tutorial, which was a little bit weak. But we're gonna have like 15, 20. They will be very different, different time period, different challenge, and a lot more. Personalization, storytelling, like story around.
This is going to feel like a strange question, but a lot of people are actually asking it. Like, why do you feel the need to have a single-player campaign in the first place? Like, what do you see there? Why do you think that's necessary?
Well, because to be honest, I remember a game like Steel Panther, Close Combat. Yeah. They were mostly solo, and I remember that at the time, when it was done right, it was a great amount of fun.
Yeah.
And I think we can achieve to bring this amount of fun. I really like to play multiplayer, but if a solo campaign is well done with the appropriate challenge, the appropriate amount of freedom, I think it's really great to say, wow, I succeed, now I want to have another taste of this one. And it's great because you have the feeling you are in a game, and I think the series need to have both of it. How to manage the solo campaign, we're still not totally satisfied by the result, but we are really trying new solution or improving. I believe that with the dynamic campaign, it's a great direction, and the direction is bringing us to a game where it's like Civilization, where you have so many possibilities, and then you can make the combat or stuff like this.
So will there be an economy and things like that?
Well, the economy can be simple, like in Wargame, the economy is pretty simple. You put a command unit, and then you have the resource. Yeah. You don't have to build a building that is transforming the resource to another one, a thing like this. So it can be that simple. So
I've got to ask about 10v10 is now my favorite. I can't play anything else but 10v10. I love 10v10. So when are we going to see more 10v10 maps?
I think very shortly. In fact, what we've been doing is, we've been designing some 10v10s map. I really like 10v10s. I think it's really great. But I believe, my feeling is the destruction mode is not very appropriate for the 10v10, because at the end it's like, oh, it's finished. But with the conquest mode, I think the 10v10 would be extremely good. And what I was waiting is releasing the conquest mode. Actually, there is, at the beginning, when you were conquering a zone, you have the income plus the conquest point, and so the marshals, like the uber hardcore fan of the game, test the mode, and they were saying, is it possible? Well, we'll like it, but we have the feeling if you have the zone, you win, and you win because you got the money plus the conquest point.
So when's Alpha starting, and who's going to get access?
I think it's going to start as soon as we can. So as soon as we have finished having some of the ships, different size, the naval sectors that you can capture, we send a version, and the marshals will have access plus some special guests, because I think it's great to have a certain amount of players, and it will be done in, I would say, in a pretty simple way. We'll ask who wants to participate in, and so we'll have it's totally free, of course, and you try it, you give the feedback, what do you think, blah blah blah, and stuff like this.